evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Yeah.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
And that's what was going on in slavery. Like Jake couldn't do absolutely nothing back to the slave master, because Jake knew that if they would have resisted against the slave master, they already knew the aftermath of that. You know? And the other slave masters would come down with their horses, just like the cop style you have right now. You know, if you're a Jake and you commit a crime, you're gonna have 4 or 5 different cop cars surrounding you. So that's how it was back then. But the only difference at the time, they had horses. They would chase your ass down the grass or down the chute somewhere. You know, go on.
And it says, "Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein."
Yeah, you would build houses and places for them to dwell in, for the slave masters to dwell in, rather than you dwelling in it. Like, for example, the White House was built by the slaves. You can go do some research on that. The actual White House itself was built by the slaves, like our people. Right. Are they in there? No. Nope, they're not in there. The people that's in there are the same people that enslaved our people.
Right.
Go on, bro.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Jump down to
brother,
verse 41, and it says, "Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity."
Yeah, because what you had even at that time, they separated the families.
Right.
And one went to one plantation, the other one went to a different plantation, and the whole family split up. And you know, Jake, we're family oriented people.
Right.
So to see the family split up, that was a heartbreaking thing to see, to experience.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it just goes to show you that Esau don't give 2 damns about the nation of Israel. Esau has a perpetual hatred, like you was talking about, against Jacob. You know, and that's going to always stay the same. And if you know, the brothers that are in their right state of mind, they're going to have the same hatred towards Esau, because in the kingdom, we're going to do, if not even more worse.
That's right.
And check this out too. Like, for example, King David, we all know in the scriptures that King David hated the Edomites.
Can I just bring out this quick precept real quick?
All right, go on, bro.
Psalms 25 and 18, it says, "Look upon my affliction and my pain, and forgive all my sins." Verse 18, "Consider mine enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with cruel hatred."
Yeah, that goes right on what we're talking about. Right. So that's the spirit of Esau. He has a true hatred against us. And it's only that the Lord can
when you really bring out the torch,
the Son to take us out of the conditions that we're in. Because see, Esau like to say, well, you gotta forgive and forget. But meanwhile, they can talk about 9/11. Meanwhile, them so-called Jews can talk about what happened to them. We gotta forget about what happened to us, which was the real what is it? Holocaust. You know, and that's just how it is. And it just goes to show you that this system is not meant for Jake to prosper.
Right.
You know, this society is not meant for Jake to get an equal opportunity.
Right.
Because the powers that be, they don't care about Jake. Like, the article was brought out of this one dude, and you know, certain brothers know him, you know, we know the guy. You know, he was on the tube, and he just kind of like went out of character. You know? And I mean, although he went out of character, I kind of do understand why he did that. Because you get pissed off, man. Sometimes you get pissed off and you just lash out. You know, but although I don't agree with what he did, but the point being is at the same time, you got these jakes, they waking up and they realizing that Esau's full of shit, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, read what you got.
Deuteronomy 28 and 65, and it says, "And among these nations thou shalt find no ease."
Yeah, that's another good precept too. And we haven't found no ease yet. So you got Jake out there just trying to find ways to better themselves in their captivity. Trying to create their captivity as a way of what's the word I want to use, man? They're trying to find some kind of, they're trying to soften their captivity. Trying to find ways to soften the conditions that they're in. You're not going to soften the conditions that you're in. Okay, it's going to be hard even to the very end. Let's read that particular verse one more time.
Verse 65, and it says, "And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, and a failing of eyes, and a sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life."
So when you read certain verses in Deuteronomy 28, you can only but picture what happened to us in slavery. Or you can watch what is it, Uncle Tom? I mean, not Uncle Tom, but no, not that one. Another one I'm talking about. The Roots. You can watch The Roots. And I'ma start in the lights because Jake had no kind of might in their hands, absolutely. Okay, they had absolutely no might at all. Learn to beat them, I can roll upon them and put them to death. Beat them into their blue. Beat them until you couldn't recognize. Look at them. Look what they did to Emmett Till. You know, beautiful young lad. Man, they turned him into something that you couldn't even recognize, man.
Yeah.
Monster, man.
They turned him into a damn deformed monster, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like a monster.
Yeah. Beautiful looking kid, man. But that's what Esau does. Esau tears things up, man, and likes to exalt his anger towards Jake. Go on, bro.
The level that we keep talking about, but the level of hate that they showed us in slavery, and you see how they are now, it looks like they've changed. It looks like Edomite would never do that, what he did in slavery. Because I mean, like what he did to Emmett Till, that's the next level of hate, like to be smiling while they're doing that to him. And now you see Edomites now all befriending Jakes and hanging out with Jake. You think that they've completely changed, man. You're thinking, now that must be a different breed of Edomites.
Yeah.
No, it's the same.
It's the same.
If I could just say something about Baba Shah, around in the early 80s, I think it was, but there was something very similar to happen to a Pakistani guy.
Oh yeah.
Not to, in the East End. Same thing what happened to Emmett Till, but this was all over the news when the Pakistani them couldn't really fight that much, but now they're firmed up.
Yeah.
And then they walk around in numbers so they can defend themselves much better. But around where I used to live in the East End, they caught one and they done the same thing what you said. They let their hate come out and they mashed it. It was all on the picture and I never forgot that. And I said to myself, a couple of times I used to get chased, me and my brother, and some of the other man them our state. We always got away. We know the Benjamin can run and all that. But if they would have caught us, only God knows, which it was a protection from the Most High. But the same thing would have happened. There would have been Emmett Tills, a couple of Emmett Tills, same way.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna say once again, I mean the second time, these are the same Edomites that will say to you, we're all in this together. We gotta go come together and protest against the same government. But years ago you was lynching us though.
Yeah.
Years ago you was talking crap behind our backs, saying no matter of evil against us. This is what they're doing. But then they'll come in front of you and shake your hand, pat you in the back. Like nothing.
There's people.
Like things have changed or something. Go on, bro.
There's people today that were there during the time of the lynchings, man.
Yeah.
In the 1960s. There's people today.
I tell you what, brother, somebody give me Isaiah 14, man. You know the one I want.
I think there's a documentary of a guy, man, that found pictures in his basement or something of so-called Jake being lynched and everything, and I think either his grandfather or his father had the collection of it. Yeah. So those things are still there. Some Edomites still collect them today, man.
Yeah, and I don't cut you, brother. And these are the same Edomites that would declare themselves as God-fearing Christians, evangelical Christians at the same time. And they got the nerve to get mad at us for cursing them out and reproving and rebuking them and exposing what they've done, because all they want to do is walk around like their shit don't stink, and they want to walk around like the Lord is actually going to deal with them. When in fact, what's going to happen to them is they're going to be put into captivity, and they're going to get the same, or if not worse, the treatment when they're under us. So somebody get me Isaiah 14, man. And that's what time we're living. We're living in the time of Esau getting his ass whooped, man. Go on, bro.
This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
Yeah, so that enmity there, it would never go away. And this is why when you read the book of Ezekiel 35, and this is the thing, this is what's more important, what we have and what we know, which is the truth. Once you know the truth of the Bible, you know everything. You know exactly how everybody thinks. So that's the spirit.
See them words,
yeah, so like I was saying, that hatred that Esau has and that enmity between Jacob and Esau will never change. No matter how much Esau tries to pretend he's down with Jacob or vice versa, it's gonna be them same spirits going against one another. Man. Go on, bro.
This is Genesis 4, verse 4, right? And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock,
beautiful, brother. Yeah.
and of the fat thereof.
Yeah.
And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and his offering, right? But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
Yeah.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
Yeah.
Right?
You're going.
Right. And Yahweh said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted?
Yeah.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
Right.
And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Right? And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Cain and Abel really, they're just the reincarnation of
Yeah, it's heavy.
Jacob
How
and
does it
Esau.
go on?
That's all they are. It's the same spirits coming back. Just the only difference is that Jacob wasn't killed this time by Esau. Okay, but the spirit of Esau goes all the way back to Cain. That rebellious, lay waste, swinging the sword kind of spirit, bringing death kind of spirit, regardless of what. So, because he got jealous of his brother Abel for bringing the right offering, he killed his brother, man. And the reason why Esau hates Jake, because they don't, which really, when you go back, Cain was jealous of Abel from day dot, because it was really something about Abel which he was jealous about. Now when we go back and read Genesis chapter 25, actually, brother, if you can give me Genesis chapter 26. You read that.
This is Genesis 25, just like in 27. So Genesis 27 and 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
Okay, he went straight to the point. Okay. Yeah, so now when we read that scripture there, now we can now further see it, and it's declared why he hates us. Because it all goes back to their forefather, Esau. So the same blood that was flowing through Esau's vein is flowing through his descendants' veins. And that's why that hatred is still there. That hatred will always be there, man. You know, because really we're the good guys. It looks like we're the bad guys because of how they portray us in the media, but we're really the good guys. You know, like I always make this analogy when you watch a film, an action film, what happens is from the beginning of the film, the good guy, you know, he kicks butt and everything like that, but in the middle of the film, he gets his ass whooped all throughout the middle of the film.
Right.
But at the end of the film, what happens? The good guy always wins. So what's happening in this film that we're playing is this life ain't nothing but a film anyway of the Most High. Hence you get the term theater, which goes back to the Greek word theos, which means God. All right, because it tells you in the scriptures that man don't understand where he's going. I'm roughly paraphrasing it. But the Lord guided the steps of men. So what does that tell you? That the Most High, he's the director of this film that we call this life here. Okay, and the bad guy, he's winning right now. The good guy is pretty much getting his ass whooped. He's losing, but at the very end, he's going to win. And that's when Yahweh Shai comes back and crack them clouds and destroy this whole entire system. Right along with the nuclear missiles. Anyway, let's read on.
And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Then I will slay my brother Jacob. And that's exactly what Esau did many of times. He did it in ancient Rome. He did it during the Greeks. And he's doing it now. And that's all Esau's been doing for 3,000 years straight ever since he's been in power. From the Greeks all the way up to where we at right now.
Not too bright.
But there's going to be a recompense in that. Yeah, if you got any more precepts, finish them off, and then I'm going to change topics now.
This is Numbers 20 and 14. Just to prove that how an example in the scriptures of how Edom hates Israel.
Yeah.
It's Numbers 20 and 14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that have befallen on us. Verse 15. How our fathers went down into Egypt, and we dwelt in
Egypt.
Egypt.
Know where this is going.
How we dwelt in, we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel, and he hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border.
Yeah.
Verse 17. let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go and we will go by the king's highway. We will not turn in the right hand nor the left, until we have passed thy borders. And Edom said unto them,
Right.
Thou shalt not pass by me,
Yeah.
lest I come out thee, lest I come against thee with the sword.
Yeah. So Esau had an issue with us going past the gate, going past their area. You know, so that even since the time of the Egyptian Empire, they was carrying on with what they were carrying on with in terms of the attitude they had towards us. Even at that time. So how much more when they're ruling? They're gonna show the utmost hate. Because they're in power now, so they can do whatever they want to Jake, you know. But they really can't do whatever they want as they please because the Most High is controlling everything that they're doing. What you brought out the word about how Esau set laws so that those lower level peasant based Edomites can't do nothing to Jake.
Right.
So that's Esau kind of like leveraging the curses from us gradually.
Reason the Most High, because if you go to Isaiah 1:9, it says the Most High was left like a remnant. So I forget
Right.
where it goes. It goes
I know you
He's the
talking
Lord left a remnant.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be nothing left of us. Son.
It would have been a Sodom and
So
Gomorrah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Meaning we would have been destroyed forever.
Right.
Yep. Good precept. Yeah. Read on it.
He's holding one as well.
Sir?
He's holding a precept as well.
Oh yeah, because he was waiting for
That's too bright, bro.
Because it's darkness, they can't see the brother putting his hand up.
Yeah, just two things I wanted to say because we were talking about lynchings and stuff. There's an actor called Bill Duke. He was in the film Predator. There's a character called Mac One that's always shaving his head. He's a Jake, and there was an interview where he was talking about his life, and he says he remembers when he was younger they would have, I think it was called nigger cookouts, where they'd get a Jake and they'd put him over a fire and burn him, and all the village would be gathered around. Those interviews should be on YouTube. They're really good to listen to him talk because he talks about racism then and racism now. But just the precept I'm going to bring out, this is Ecclesiastes 12:10. Never trust thine enemy.
That's right.
For like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as thou had wiped in looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust is not altogether been wiped away.
Yeah, and we're going to do that anyway because we're in the truth. We know who's who. We know who the other nations are. We know what kind of attitude they have, and we see what they're gonna bring about. You know, before we even step to them or deal with them, we know.
He says, though he humbleth himself, man.
Even though he humbled himself.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Where they don't act like they're your friends and shit like that.
Yeah.
PC, and the key word there was never. Never.
You never trust thine enemy. But that's what happens when you know the truth. But see, if you don't know the truth as an Israelite, you're going to believe that, yeah, things have changed. They're much more nicer now. Esau is much more nicer now. But they're the same. It's just that they can't do it out in the open like they used to because we live in the PC era like the brother brought out. So they have to really hold their tongue. Everybody has to hold their tongue. Even Jake can't express how they really feel.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll get aired out on Sun News like this one dude got. Okay? That's what happens, man. But you know what though? I want to talk about that later on. Anyway, so yeah, let's move on. Let's finish the scriptures we have.
So this is back in Numbers.
And then I'm going to change the topic.
This is back in Numbers 20 and 19. And the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink... Yes, sure. So it says, and the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it.
Yeah.
I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. Verse 20. And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand.
Yeah, see?
Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him.
Yeah, because it wasn't like they was gonna take over their border. But what it is, Esau was just trying to sabotage the situation with Jake, because Jake was trying to, walk out of just get to where they needed to get to, and Esau was the hindrance to Jake. And it's the same thing now. When they don't have to hinder Jake at all. They could just forcefully and willfully and technically oppress Jake in every which way. Which to a certain degree they have the right to do that, because when you study the Roman Empire, when Jake got an equal share opportunity, because that's when Jake had an equal share opportunity at that time in ancient Rome. What happened? Jake pretty much took that bad boy over and ran the whole thing by themselves. Hence it was called the Holy Roman Empire. So you better believe these top there Edomites, they know the history on that. And this is why they know to do exactly what they're doing right now. To keep Jake on a lower level, because like I said, they know the power that Jake possessed. And they know that they're weaker than we are. So it's in their best interest to do us the way they're doing us right now. You know, and at the same time, their time has to be fulfilled anyway. They have to bring out all kind of manner of wickedness. His wickedness has to serve its season. So once it serves its season, then it's going to be time for the script to be flipped our way. And that's just the bottom line. So yeah, brother, I'm going to change the topic down. Get me the book of Nahum, the first chapter. Somebody get me Nahum 1.
Yeah, I got it.
The 1 and 1.
Yeah, I got it. This is Nahum 1 and 1. The burden of Nineveh. The book of the vision of Nahum, the Elkoshite. The Most High is jealous, and the Lord Yahweh revengeth.
How much of this?
The Lord Yahweh